Evening, peeps. Good evening, everyone. All right, let's see what there is to talk about from the world of boxing today. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. By the way, the episode I did the other day with Travis J, the sit-down interview, that is now on Spotify. All those episodes are going to be on Spotify. I'll put the link in the description, but you can just search my name, OLADIPO. What I was thinking was, should these be on Spotify as well? So these like shorter 25-minute vids that I do. Let me know, and I'll just chuck those on Spotify as well. But for now, it's only going to be those episodes, and they are on Spotify. All right, Taylor-Serrano pound-for-pound showdown nearly finalised, eyed for April 30th at Madison Square Garden. Yep, Eddie Hearn will be sitting down with Jake Paul. That still seems strange to even say. To finalise that deal, very strange. But yeah, looks like that's a doer, right? Both of those fighters want it now, like 100%. I almost felt like it wasn't quite right, whether it be the money or the timing of it before, but both of them seem desperate to make this fight happen. It's the biggest fight within their weight class financially. I think there are harder fights for both of them, by the way, but I think it's the biggest fight. So yeah, hopefully it happens. Eddie's billing it as the biggest female fight of all time. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm old enough to remember how big, like just how big Layla Ali versus Jackie Fraser was. That was massive. It was huge. For those of you, most of you know what I'm talking about, obviously Muhammad Ali's daughter and Joe Fraser's daughter. That was humongous. Obviously these girls are technically way better than fucking those two, like combined, but I'm not saying that Layla Ali and Jackie Fraser were slouches, but I'm not. But obviously Taylor-Serrano are just, for me, different levels. But yeah, that was by far the biggest female fight of all time. This is big though. This is big. I don't know if it's the biggest female fight available now. I still feel like Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall is huge. But I mean, what have you got here? You've got an undisputed lightweight champion versus Serrano, who is, what is she, 6, 7, 8 weight world champion? So it's a massive, massive fight. Don't get me wrong. But look, I'm just happy it's happening. I think it's really big for female boxing to see the best fight the best. And I think it's going to do really, really good numbers for, I'm guessing it will fall under the zone. And I think it will obviously sell out MSG like that as well. And there'll be good undercard. There'll be good undercard. So look, again, Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul are going to sit with each other, I'm guessing, the next week, 2 weeks, and finalise this deal. But yeah, I'm sure Eddie's going to announce it very, very soon. You know, he announced kind of the first quarter of fights up until, I think, the end of March. I think this next announcement is where it will get interesting. Obviously, AJ should be in an announcement in there. I still don't know if AJ is going to fight on Sky or DAZN, by the way, but AJ should be there. He's talked about Derek Chisora, Conor Benn, Katie Taylor. It's the big hitters. You'd think that, the big hitters. What's going to happen with Dillian White, we don't know. So that next announcement, so from April to July or April to the end of June, should be very, very interesting. Chris Eubank Jr. Versus Liam Williams. Obviously, that's now done for February the 5th, which is really good. So it's only a week after. There was a lot of conversations on sort of chat rooms and forums about whether or not this fight was going to be moved, just because, I'm sure you guys know this, but the world's government sort of pretty much banned any sort of large-scale events from happening because of COVID. They've since rescinded that, as have the Scottish government as well. So that fight now still will take place at the Motorpoint Arena. Obviously, we get to see Clarissa Shields in action as well. So, look, it's a really good fight. It's a good fight. It's a big, big fight for Sky. Sky have got a lot going on this month, if you think about Amir Khan, Kell Brook at the end of the month as well, the end of February. So, yeah, this is a good one. It's a big one. I mean, I did the video the other day saying Chris Eubank Jr. should be fighting, like, legit world-level guys. Liam Williams is fringe world level. Good fight. It's going to be a tough fight for Chris, you know. Liam Williams will bring it to him, but Chris should come through this. And then, hopefully, he finally, delivers on a lot of the promise. Because, again, every single year for the past 5 years, I think, with Chris, they've spoken about big names, like, consistently. Like, he's had some big fights in there. I mean, George Groves was a big fight, no doubt about it, but I'm talking about the Americans mainly. He's spoken about, or the American-based fighter. He's spoken about Golovkin a lot. Obviously, he's mentioned Canelo's name. It's going to be difficult to get now, almost impossible to get with Chris Eubank Jr. fighting at 160, but there's Demetrius Andrade, there's Charlo, Eva Charlo. I think Jamel Charlo will come up after that fight against Castano. So there are options out there for Chris, but he's got to get through Liam Williams, and it isn't going to be easy. But look, regardless, it should be a fun 2022 for Chris. I think there's a lot of fighters, by the way, that this is massive, massive years for, like huge years. I'm thinking about Josh Warrington as well. Obviously, he's got his fight March 26 against Kiko Martinez. That could be moved, by the way. I mean, because Frank Warren is obviously talking about Tyson Fury fighting March 26. No one is trying to go head-to-head with that. So it could be moved. Although Josh has got a big following, there's no point going toe-to-toe with Tyson Fury, especially if he fights over here. But yeah, Josh has got a big year. I mean, if he gets beat by Kiko, that's a long way back. I'm not one of those fighters or one of those fight fans, sorry, that, you know, oh, he's done after a couple of defeats. No, if it's bad and you're getting knocked out, then yeah, I'm going to say stop. But if it's just you're getting beat, you're getting beat. But yeah, he would hope that he can beat Kiko Martinez. I mean, Kiko Martinez thought he beat Josh 5 years ago when they fought. So Kiko Martinez coming off a pretty decent year, you know. I mean, fucking, some say he beat Zelfa Barrett and then he stopped Kid Galahad. That's solid. I mean, I know there was a fight in between. I'm not discounting that. But, you know, in terms of the British fighters, I mean, remember as well, Zelfa was a weight above. So Kiko's had a very good year. So Kiko's going to come super confident. And he wanted, I spoke to Josh the other day for Talk Sport. Me and Gareth A. Davis interviewed him. And he was saying that he heard that when Kiko went back to the changing room, all Kiko was saying was, give me Josh Warrington, give me Josh Warrington. He didn't even think about a Kid Galahad fight. That's all he wanted. And look, Kid would have had the first options on this fight, but Kid Galahad is going to go up to super feather now. Featherweight's clearly killing him. I've seen him the day before weigh-ins, and it's not nice to see. It really isn't. I mean, I'm all for, you know, fighters looking big on the night and rehydrating properly, but no. He's putting his body and his brain at such a deficit the day before. You don't make that up on fight night. It's just impossible. So I'm all for him going up a weight class. Speaking of fighters that it's a big year for, there's no fighter out there that it's a bigger year for than Anthony Joshua. This is a massive 2022 for AJ, and it should be a get back here. Like, it's so important that he delivers this year for 100 different reasons, but more importantly, obviously, just for himself in terms of getting those belts back. I guess it should start with fingers crossed. And look, we know, you never know how these things are going to play out, but he needs to be active this year. I mean, AJ had one fight last year, obviously that being Usyk, one fight the year before, that being Kubrat Pulev. That's not enough. Like, one fight a year is not enough for AJ. It isn't. I almost feel like he leaves a lot of himself in the gym because, you know, when we do see AJ, he's doing a lot in the gym, whether that be in Sheffield or before that in Finchley. So it's almost like AJ has two fight camps where he goes to Sheffield and has that 10 to 12 week fight camp with Rob McCracken. Obviously, this will change now. But before that, he's in he's in Finchley with his old trainer, and he's doing little things there as well. So I almost feel like AJ leaves a lot in the gym, and that's okay if you're having 3 fights a year. But if you're just having a fight, then, I mean, I almost feel like he's draining himself because he's not fighting, if that makes any sense. So look, AJ needs to have 2 fights minimum this year. It's going to be only 2, let's be honest. But 3 would be ideal, but it's going to be 2. And a lot of you might be saying, oh, 3 is unrealistic. And well, I will tell you that the biggest fighter in the world today had 4 fights in 11 months. And they were big fights, minus the Yildirim one. And I say minus the Yildirim one. Yildirim wasn't a big fight in terms of the opponent, but it was still a big fight. It's Canelo. It's always going to be a big fight. He had Callum Smith unbeaten, Yildirim, and then Billy Joe Saunders unbeaten, then Caleb Plant in 11 months. And I get it, COVID and, you know, Tyson Fury fight fell off and everyone thought that was going to happen. But there are no excuses for him not to be having 2 fights this year. It's got to be 2 fights. He's got to stay busy. He really has to. But more importantly, he's got to get his belts back. It's important. There have been some that have said things like, if he loses to Usyk, then that's it. It's over. Not for me. I think that's too simplistic, that way of thinking about it. It depends how he loses, let's be honest. And it also depends on how highly you rate Alexander Usyk. If you rate if you're one of those fight fans out there and you think only Fury can beat Usyk, then there is no shame in AJ losing to Usyk. if you're one of those fight fans out there that thinks, no, wait, Joe Joyce could do him and Hrgovic could do him and others could do it, then yeah, there is a bit of a shame. But if AJ loses to Usyk in a close fight and you think Usyk is the second best heavyweight in the planet, then AJ should continue, and there's no shame in continuing because there are massive fights out there for him. If he were to get stopped brutally by Usyk, then yeah, I guess those are questions that need to be had about his career. But look, it's been a great career. Regardless if he has those questions, if he loses, it's been a great career. He's made millions. He's made stadium fighting normal, which it isn't. Fighting in stadiums isn't normal, you know. Selling 60 to 90,000 tickets is not normal. Doing huge pay-per-view numbers isn't normal. He's become a world champion twice. Look, he's had a really great career. No, I'm not saying AJ should even consider retiring, by the way. I'm not at all. But I'm saying if those thoughts crossed his mind, if he loses, then there's no shame in it. But I think once AJ gets the training set up correct, and I think they are working meticulously behind the scenes to make sure that every stone's turned. I think they'll get it right with regards to training set up, and then look, we'll see what happens. I hope as an AJ fan that he gets it right. I really do. I hope he gets it right up here. Because I know physically he's going to be ready. Physically he's going to be prepared to the best he can be. Like, he's still an absolute specimen. And I've been privileged and lucky enough to see him train a couple of times, and Jesus Christ, man, he's a machine. It's just up here. I think mentally he just needs to get it right, and I think only AJ will be able to answer that question, whether or not he's mentally ready. But look, he's got a big task in front of him. It's going to happen in April or May. It's going to happen over here. And look, I think Derek Chisora was on TalkSport the other day, and Derek said that he asked AJ if he's watched the fight, and AJ said no, he hasn't watched it past 4 rounds because he didn't like the way he was boxing. AJ had some spots in that fight. Not enough spots, but enough spots to make you think, okay, you know, there's something to work on. I mean, Usyk had way more spots, hence why Usyk won the fight, but there's something to work on there with AJ. It wasn't one-way traffic. I mean, you can look at it, you only have to look at Usyk's face to realise that, you know, AJ did land some big shots. Just not enough. But look, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I hope he gets it right. I hope it is a get back here. I hope that we do see him in the ring at least twice. We've got to. I remember 4 years ago, AJ fought 3 times. I think 2017, I'm pretty sure. Let me have a quick look. I'm pretty sure that AJ had 3 fights. Obviously, look, I don't expect that to happen anymore. See, I say that, but then Canelo had that many. So it can happen. Canelo's the biggest fighter in the world. If he can fight that many times, so can AJ. But with AJ, I do feel like negotiations seem to always cause a problem. I don't think it's AJ not wanting to fight. I almost feel like just the fights just take so long to be made. Where did I think AJ had? Okay, no, apologies. He's not had 3 fights since 2016 when he done the fights with Charles Martin, Dominic Brazil, and Eric Molina. Since then, it's 2 fights. 2 fights in 2017, 2 fights in 2018, 2 fights in 2019. As I said, 1 in 2021 in 2021. We'll see, man. Good luck to AJ. I really hope that he gets his belts back and moves on to the big fight against Tyson Fury. It's weird how, although AJ's lost, and it's like it really has slammed the door, not shut, but the door's, you know, started to close on that Fury fight. All he has to do, I say all like it's easy, beat Usyk, and that fight is humongous again. It's humongous. It happens again. It's huge. I hope, man. Imagine a 2022. Imagine we end a 2022 with AJ versus Fury. Like, just from the growth of the sport, I want to see the sport be as big as it can be. Like, I'm at an age where I remember in the 90s when it was just front page news. Like, Eubank was on the front page. Like, Nassim Hamed was making front page. Nigel Benn was making front page. Like, the boxers of it, Frank Bruno was making front page. Lennox Lewis was making front page. I just want boxing to become that again. And I think the only fight that can be made over here to get that, you know, I'll be honest with you, even some of our big fights over here don't even make back page. Just football. AJ Fury would make the front and the back. It's that big, and it will grow the sport tremendously. There'll be there'll be companies that had no interest in boxing that will jump on it because it's AJ Fury. So me wanting AJ Fury, yes, I want it because I'm a fight fan, but more importantly, I want it because I want to see the sport grow to just levels where everyone seems to be interested. Even if it's for one night, I want that. And AJ Fury does it. AJ Usyk doesn't do it. White Fury doesn't do it. AJ Fury does it. And that's why I'm really keen on it happening. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we'll see. Talking of Fury, Hellenius. I'll knock Tyson Fury out. His style is easy for me, more easier for me than Usyk. Look, Hellenius, calm down a bit, brother. You beat Kalnaki, I get it. Kalnaki ain't no bloody Tyson Fury. I'll tell you that now. Look, be nice. Look, if Hellenius was one of the names, by the way, in the mix for a March date. It was Hellenius, Andy Ruiz, Dillian White. I mean, he's certainly not out of the shake, is he? We'll see. We'll see. A bit here on Kiko Martinez, saying he's very focused to stun Warrington. Felt that he proved his point with Galahad. Jeez. Andrade here, a bit about Andrade. Andrade versus Alim Kanuli. Purse bid has been delayed. WBO grants additional week for deal. Andrade or Andrade, I keep messing this or butchering this name pronunciation. I mean, this is a nightmare, this is. Not a nightmare because I don't think he can win. I think he can win, although that guy's a really good fighter. Just like, he doesn't want to be in these types of fights. Like, it's almost to the stage where, look, I feel like his belt means something because that's his only value. No one's going to fight him on a voluntary without a belt. But, like, surely something has to drop for him. Surely something has to give. Surely. Like, I don't know, man. I just feel sorry for him. I don't know what he's going to do. We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, that's it. Last one, actually. I like this one. Tony Yoka has accepted the invitation to enter fight talks for the IBF Eliminator versus Filip Hrgovic. Everyone was acting like Filip Hrgovic is some boogeyman, and people were not wanting the fight, even though it's only been a couple of names that have turned the fight down for whatever reason. Luis Ortiz said injury. Joseph Parker wants to go a different way. Tony Yoka, I'm confident would beat Filip Hrgovic. I'm confident. I'm a big Tony Yoka fan. Sorry, I am. I think he's got power. I think he's fast on his feet. He's not muscle bound. He's quite a light heavyweight. I like Yoka a lot. He's an Olympic gold medalist. Man can box, you know. Man can box. And even though some people say there was a bit of controversy, apologies, when he beat Joe Joyce, and maybe Joe Joyce should have got it. Yeah, it was a close fight. It was a close fight. I thought he might have nicked it. It was a close fight. Tony Yoka is very, very talented, and I think he could actually embarrass Hrgovic a bit. Yeah, I'm going there. I'm putting it out there. So yeah, I like it. Yoka's not scared. Yoka's got to get past Carlos Takam, who's coming obviously as a replacement for Martin Bakole. I still don't understand what's happened there. Is Bakole pulled out because of COVID? It certainly can't be injury because I've seen him hitting the pads recently. It looks fine. But yeah, once it gets past Carlos Takam, Hrgovic versus Tony Yoka, bring it on for Yoka. Bring it on. Big year for Tony Yoka. I think this is the year that Tony Yoka cracks the top 10 as well. This is the year. And I think he could do it by beating Hrgovic. I love it. Peace.